Hey everybody, so Edmonton has a municipal election coming up, as you all know, and we have a candidate here who's running for the Papasteo ward in Edmonton. His name is Tarsi Shindelka.
Good.
Said it right for once. And here he is. So welcome to the Keep Time studio.
Thanks for having me.
And so my first question for you, what is Advanced Entertainment?
Well, it started out as a DJ company. We now do all kinds of entertainment, comedians and hypnotists and casino parties and all that kind of thing. So it's the company that I started as my baby 14 years ago.
And what part do you play in that company?
Well, I do it all. I wash the bottles. I answer the phones. I go out and DJ sometimes. Sometimes I'm a pit boss. Sometimes I'm a dealer at the casinos, right? I'm the booking agent. I'm everything, basically. Sometimes there's guys that go out and actually do the work, right? But I'm the one that arranges that and makes it happen too. So
Cool. And so what would you say your particular trade is if you had one?
my trade, I would just call it entertainment.
Cool.
I'm an entertainer,
Cool.
you know.
So, as a city councilor, how do you think you can help protect the river valley?
Well, I mean, step one is limiting development, because I know that developers want to get in there, and I know even they're trying to talk about putting in a solar farm. But while we need a solar farm, we don't need it in the river valley. Edmonton has all kinds of brown space that is perfectly viable for a solar farm. I think that's step one. Step two, I'm not a fan of the gondola plan, because now there's another big concrete footprint that has to go into the river valley as well. So I think it comes down to taking care of development in that area, and all green spaces for that matter.
Cool. So, you've advocated for a 10% wage reduction across the board with councilors and mayor. So, how did you arrive at that 10% figure?
You know, I mean, realistically, it's, if you look at overall, 10% of the entire council, including the mayor, is only about $100,000, right? It's not a lot when you talk about the size of the budget that the corporation of the city of Edmonton runs on every single year. But really what it is trying to point out that I want to be fiscally responsible, and not just put money into ideological expansion, that sort of thing.
What would you consider an example of ideological expansion?
You know, I mean, it's a good way to look at it is our bike lane system. While it is a good thing, it's been done improperly. It's pitted cyclists against drivers, right? So there has to be a more responsible way of doing up a system, an active pathway system that would allow for both to coexist. So I think going down that road and paying attention to both sides of an argument is a start, as opposed to just forcing one view.
So, this ward contains a large percentage of the city's university students.
Yeah.
Do you have a message to them?
University students, I mean, they're the future, realistically. It really comes down to live your life as you see fit. You know, I call myself a conservative on a fiscal sense, but a conservative with a conscience, because I also care about people in a big way. So I don't, and it's funny with social media and the way things are out there, it's so much an enemy. The other person thinks differently, they're an enemy. And I do not think that way. I think that's open dialogue and conversation and being able to listen to each other and come to a solution that actually works for most people.
Discourse is definitely important.
Yeah, undoubtedly, you know, but do it properly. Don't consider somebody with a different view a complete enemy, right? Like, talk to them.
Fair enough.
Figure out where that person comes from, why they think that way.
Indeed. And so there's also a large homeless population in this ward. What do you think you can do to help them?
Homelessness is probably, when I'm talking to people and I'm knocking on doors, that's the issue that comes up the most. And with homelessness, a lot of times there's a reason why that person has ended up where they are. And they don't want to be there, most of them. You can't say all of them. You can't paint everybody with the same brush.
Of course not.
And you have to figure out why. and where is the system failing them? A lot of times it comes down to proper addiction treatment and mental health supports and that sort of thing, which now becomes a provincial health issue. But at the same time, being the fact that on a municipal level, we're closer to the issue. And even further, if you want to take it, a lot of times places like Boyle Street and the Hope Mission and places like that are front and center can give a lot of ideas and a lot of solutions to getting these people back on their feet. And I know, actually, I was speaking to somebody just a couple weeks ago at their doorstep. They've worked alongside Boyle and the Hope Mission, and the current council has been fighting the suggestions from those agencies. And I mean, realistically, if you look at how Medicine Hat has done it, and so many, it was finally acknowledged last week. I saw that Medicine Hat, I've known for years, it's a multi-step and a multi-phased solution where if somebody ends up homeless, those frontline services are the ones that identify it first, and then the machine goes into business, if you want to call it that. Okay. And I don't understand why Edmonton so often tries to reinvent the wheel. If you have somebody that's done it, and you have agencies here that are ready to work to solve it, put it all together and make it happen.
So what do you think is the most important change that needs to be made in the Edmonton transit system?
Well, the redesign just happened. Everybody I've spoken to is unhappy with the way it's gone. Now, our system obviously costs a lot of money, but it's also incredibly necessary. And one of the core services that a city needs to provide is transit to its residents. So the problem that I see with Edmonton Transit is it is not at all user-friendly, which is why you'll see buses roll on by with one or two people in them. You'll see the LRT swing by with 5 full cars and 5 people and one in each car, kind of thing. It's not a user-friendly system, so I think it needs to become a user-friendly system. How? First off, I think park and rides are a good start. I mean, you look at all the stations we have here, and very few have an actual park and ride opportunity. And if we want people to use transit, we need to make it as accessible as possible. Pulling routes out of neighborhoods doesn't do that either. The on-demand transit is only available in some neighborhoods, right? So, I mean, it comes down to looking forward to, okay, well, if we do this, what's going to happen? And you can't go with a blanket, okay, this is going to work for the entire city, because it might be different from one neighborhood to another, period. So consultations with the people that use the system in that area would be a good start.
Fair enough. So we've spoken to a few people recently who have discussed the idea that Jason Kenney's response to this COVID mess that we're currently in has been subpar in certain ways. And there's been discussion about the idea of a municipal takeover of the handling of vaccination distribution and stuff, as opposed to this mess that's going on with the provincial government. How would you feel about that idea?
I don't think, no. I mean, while it has been subpar, it's not a municipal responsibility by any stretch of the imagination, because now we're talking health and, you know, I mean, as far as it goes into the private sector with pharmacies handling some of it, I think a lot of people don't even know that, hey, instead of having to book an appointment with AHS and go to their vaccine, you can go to your local pharmacy and typically have it done that day. So, I mean, realistically, I don't think the city needs to get into that arena at all.
Fair enough. And so you're actually one of the very few councillor candidates that I've noticed actually has your personal phone number listed on their website. Is that an intentional decision?
Not at all. I mean, it's the phone number that they can get a hold of me at. Realistically, it's the one I want people to be able to get a hold of me. I didn't do it intentionally, but it's staying there for a reason. That's intentional. I mean, I've heard as well in talking to people that some councillors right now are not that accessible. And if they put in a concern, they get a canned response back and no actual response from a counselor. That's not me. I'm going to be that guy that, yeah, you can call me. I might have a different phone at that point, right? To keep business and city business separate, obviously. And I might end up with 3 phones because now I'll have my personal phone besides that. So I want to be that accessible guy. I want to be the one that has coffee on White Ave and people can come and speak to me every couple of weeks. You know, just bring the issues. Let's talk about it.
Cool. So, as a person involved in the entertainment industry, who's your favorite local artist right now?
I'm a big fan of the band Riff Raff. Okay. They are an AC/DC tribute band. A good friend of mine is a part of it. He's the lead guitarist and, he's the rhythm guitarist in that one. He's the lead guitarist in the other band, Spitfire, which is a cover band, obviously, but they're 2 big fans of theirs. And, I mean, guys like Dan Davidson, who's made it big enough, still a local guy in my eyes.
Cool. And last question, as a DJ, what's your favorite plugin or VST?
You know what? I mean, I use Virtual DJ. Beyond that, I mean, it's tough because it's such a personal thing, DJing, realistically. I just use a simple program. I play the right music at the right times, I hope. You know, I mean, people give me reviews and it's all good. So that's basically it. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question to answer because I try to keep it as basic as humanly possible.
Fair enough. Well, thanks for talking to us.
No problem. Thanks for having me up.
Cool. And this has been Keep Time's Edmonton Election Coverage 2021. Peace.